Hello. And Debbie, can you tell me, my wonderful, beautiful tech person behind the scenes, can you tell me if you can hear me okay? Hello, Debbie? Anyway, I've got my earbuds in, so I'm hoping
yes,
that
Claudia, you're good.
I'm hoping this improves the sound for everybody because it is hot in Southern California. And so the air conditioning and a fan, I've got a lot of air moving to keep me cool. Hope you're staying cool too. So happy Moon Day, everyone. And hello, Olivia. Hi. Great to see you. Yes. And people check in. Let me know where you're hailing from and say hello. I love it when you check in and when we've got, a mutual conversation kind of going on here. So before we do anything else, of course, we're going to drop into our hearts. So put your feet on the floor. Begin to just be aware of your breath as it comes and goes. Where is the breath in your body? Is it up here? Is your belly moving? You can always put your hand on your belly to be sure that the air is moving all the way up from the soles of your feet, filling every cell of your body. Allow the breath to come and go. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just feel those cells quickening as that energy, that sustaining love from the earth comes up and fills every cell of your body. Breathe in, breathe out, and feel your hips supported by the chair you're sitting on, your palms up in your lap. With every exhalation, your shoulders drop away from your ears. And now on the next inhalation, as the breath moves all the way from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head, see white light coming down through the crown of your head, moving down, down as you exhale. And now on the next breath, you inhale through your nose. And as you exhale, see the energy of your mind, of that monkey mind moving down, dropping down behind your facial mask, through your throat, down through your chest, coming to rest in your heart. And as your attention rests in your heart, see that white light. And you might even have colors from the earth in that light. See it filled with a rosy golden color, the rosy color of self-love. And do that a couple more times until you are in your heart, and begin to breathe in and out of your heart. Allowing your whole body to fill with prana, pure life force. And you'll know when you're in your heart, because you will be in this present moment only. The power of the present moment. The past doesn't exist. The future is an illusion, doesn't exist yet. Come into this point of power, the present moment in your heart. Delicious. And when you feel present and complete, open your eyes and come back to be with me. Well, as you know, we had a really busy week last week, and can I get a hallelujah? Mercury's direct. Yeah, as of the 3rd, as of last Friday, Mercury moved in direct motion. We're going to talk about that today because it continues to be a powerful player, and there's a reason for that. And right now, the moon is in Virgo, the sign of the busy bee, the picky bee with an itch of the zodiac. I have Virgo rising, so I can get away with saying that. But it is that the moon that is shows an attention to detail. And this particular, it is also ruled by Mercury. So it's opening the door to the use of that Mercury energy moving forward. And we're going to find that Virgo has to do with physical health. And because it's ruled by Mercury, which rules the lungs, it reminds you of your new moon intention around breathing more mindfully, more fully. To live fully, you have to breathe fully. So the theme of the breath is the big theme for this month. The new moon was in Gemini, and that's the inhalation, and the full moon will be in Sagittarius, which is the exhalation. Did you know that? Yeah, interesting, huh? So it's mutable energy. It's kind of restless, and the moon is at 5 degrees of Virgo right now, if you happen to know where that is in your natal chart. And we are in the crescent phase until tomorrow. And during the crescent phase of the moon, we begin to put the things together, the ideas, the materials that we need to move forward on our new moon intentions. We get our things calendared, all of that. And so you may find that later today is, the busy bee syndrome kicks in more, that it moves into high gear as you come towards late afternoon and evening. But Virgo can be the workaholic of the zodiac. So that's the downside. The upside is it takes those self-expressive passions that we have, that we tuned into in Leo, and it moves them into a context of service. So Virgo is a service sign. And we're going to, as we move through the 3 different moon signs this week, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, and ultimately Sagittarius late on Sunday, we're going to talk about the breath and just give you some suggestions of things that you can do to have more mindful breathing in your life. So if you look at, if you think about the nervous system, because Mercury has to do with the nervous system. And in Virgo, that nervous system with all that attention to detail can really be ramped up. And the breath is like a tonic, an instant tonic for the nervous system. So I want to first of all, talk about a breath that actually calms the parasympathetic nervous system. It's really, which is a really good thing to do. And the way that this breath goes is you inhale through the nose to the count of 4, and then you exhale to the count of 8 through your mouth as if you're blowing through a straw. So try that with me. So and if you'll do that for even a minute, several times throughout the day, you'll find that it just calms you. It calms that parasympathetic nervous system. So, and of course, you can drop into your heart at the same time, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. Yeah, blending mind with heart. So as we move on into this week, as I mentioned, this is a really good day for personal healing work. There's an aspect to Chiron, the wounded healer, in Aries, and so that supports some good healing work. If you hold a lot of Virgo energy, you may be a hands-on healer, because Virgo has to do with the hands and arms. It's the artisan, the craftsperson of the zodiac as well. And so sometimes working with your hands, doing something creative with your hands can really be healing. Hi, Christy. Thank you. Great to hear from you. So last week, just to recap for a second, last week, we, on the 29th of May, Jupiter and Mars conjoined in Aries. And so that really, kicked off a theme of growth and expansion. And so if you've been having some expansion going on in your life, put it in the chat. I'd love to hear how these transits are affecting you. And that transit that started on the 29th continued to be very powerful through all of last week. I know I had some opportunities come to me, and that's the kind of thing that this can engender. And it also gives you the self-confidence to take a risk, to go after it. And there's other aspects that are supporting that as we move through this week. So we're going to be talking about that. So that happened last week. We had Mercury move in direct motion in Taurus at 26 degrees. So that feels better, doesn't it? It's going to be in shadow till the 18th, which means that it will get back to 5 degrees of Gemini, where the retrograde period began on June 18th. And so, as I often say, the universe moves forward like a locomotive, not a rocket. So things build up speed as we refer to what we saw, what we learned, during that retrograde period. And also on Saturday, Saturn moved in retrograde motion, and it will be in retrograde motion until October. October is going to be a big month because there's a lot of planets that will be moving in forward direction, shifting either by sign or by movement. And we have Saturn and Pluto retrograde now, and more planets will be moving retrograde during as we approach July. And that's the way it goes every summer. It really is the universe reminding us that we are entering the waning phase of the year as of the solstice. So what's happening tomorrow? Well, tomorrow you'll wake up with an I can do it attitude, can do attitude. And that'll start off the day. And that's really, really nice. And then we enter the first quarter phase at 7:48 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And the first quarter phase, now the crescent phase is the phase, as I mentioned, where you get your stuff together so you can really move forward on those new moon intentions if you haven't taken an action step or two already. And the first quarter occurs a week after the new moon. So it reminds you that there's only one more week left till the full moon, which is going to occur on the 14th, next week, on Tuesday. So when we get to the first quarter phase in the planting cycle, that's the part of the cycle where the plant has become stem and leaves. It grows a stem and leaves. In other words, the support system that will carry the nutrition, and those are your actions and your gratitude to manifest a bud and then a blossom at the full moon. So this is your system of sustenance. What are you doing to sustain and nourish those new moon intentions? What are the actions you are going to take? Because the first quarter says you got to take action. There's only a week left of the outward active building, waxing energy of the cycle. So the moon rises at noon and sets at midnight during the first quarter phase. And the light is growing in our hemisphere from right to left. So it looks like that moon pie that's half lit. And so you want to take action on whatever you're putting forth during this cycle. And then we have this eclipse. We've had eclipses. So our intentions are really working on our intentions has real import. Even, you'll get even more bang for your buck, so to speak, for the work that you put in. And Virgo is the sign of the workaholic in its negative phase, the busy bee, the detail-oriented person in its high side who's of service. And it reminds us, as I mentioned, to take a breath and not to get lost in the forest, know the details that are important. Don't get lost in the trees and lose sight of the forest, your overarching vision and plan. And that's what Saturn's going to be saying to you. Have you learned the lessons? Actually, it's saying to all of humanity, have we learned the lessons we need to learn so we can build a new earth, a new world that serves everybody? And I know most of us are really behind that. So the key word is taking action. And, I always remind you that calendaring, getting a monthly calendar so you can see the whole cycle and plot the phases and plot your action steps so that you are accountable, so you can hold yourself accountable, so that you move forward step by step and make your dreams come down to earth. Get that vision actionable. So as we come to Wednesday at 5, let's see, Yeah, we have something big happening on Wednesday. First of all, the moon moves into Libra at 8:22 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Beauty, grace, harmony, balance, relationship. Libra is the sign of we. And so as we move through that day, we're encouraged to not just try to do everything ourselves, but to look at partnership and the importance of that in our lives, and to include self-care. Libra really, it has an ideal of beauty and harmony. And so good self-care is definitely part of that. And remember, we've had this new balance that was established the first 4 to 5 months as Venus and Mars traveled together this year. So this, when the moon moves into Libra, it says check in with that. What does that new balance look like in your life, in your relationships, in your health, in your business, in all the aspects of your life? And I want to mention with the moon in Libra, the balancing breath. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see me do this, but you will see what I'm doing with my nose. And what I'm doing with my arm is I'm going to be moving it like this, and then the other one. So I'm going to close. In the morning, you close your right nostril first. If you're doing this in the evening, it's great to do it twice a day. You close your left nostril. So in the morning, which is where we are on the West Coast right now, you put a thumb over your right nostril, and with your arm down at your side, bring it up and around to close your left nostril. So I'm going to breathe into the count of 4, and then as I bring my left arm up to close my left nostril, I'm going to count to 16 and hold my breath for the count of 16. And then I will keep my left nostril closed, and I will take my right arm in an arc down to my side as I exhale to the count of 8. So I'm going to do this a couple of times so that you can get this. This is a very fundamental breath, and it has a lot of amazing benefits. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 4. 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So now I'm going to do that, and I'm going to count to myself, and you can do it again with me, okay? So I'm starting with the right nostril closed, and the left arm will come up to the count of 4. So I'm inhaling. As this arm came up, I inhaled to the count of 4, held at 16, and exhaled to the count of 8. So it's a wonderful breath to do. Sunrise, sunset, when you wake up in the morning. I do it. It's the first thing I do when my feet hit the floor. I get up and I do the balancing breath. So it's really, really powerful. And again, it really calms you, fills your body with prana. So another breath tip. So as we come to Wednesday, at 5:09 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, Mercury trines Pluto. This is big stuff. I'm going to tell you why. Mercury trines Pluto, this particular configuration with Mercury moving through Taurus and Pluto in Capricorn at late degree. This is a harmonious angle to the planet of power and transformation. So this is the last time this is going to occur for 240 plus some years, okay? Big, rare stuff. Wonderful gift as Mercury moves in forward motion. So you'll find that, social media, all communication, transportation, these are the things that Mercury has to do with. It has to do with deals made or undone. And Christopher Renstrom calls Mercury the god of small things. Now, it's also the divine messenger. So it reminds you, because retrograde energy moves the energy more internally, and as it moves outward, it reminds you to keep that inner message center open so that you can receive those divine downloads. Technicalities, details, often overlooked facts, and mundane things that are part of our everyday life. You know, the things that we don't notice unless they run amok, like during a Mercury retrograde. Those are all the things, some of the things that Mercury has a sway over. And, you know, when Mercury's retrograde, of course, things just don't go according to plan, particularly in the areas that it happens to impact in your chart or the sign that it's in. So the period after I mentioned, which is the shadow period, which is going to go on till the 18th of June. And so during that time, it goes over the same points that the same area that it moved through on its way seemingly backwards through the zodiac and through your chart. So we're going to find this is the third pass. So it's kind of like third time's the charm, right? So this is the third pass of Mercury. And it's like having 3 chances to use the energy. And Mercury is the planet of locks and keys, riddles and clues. It's the planet that's responsible for getting you from here to there, so to speak. And it has to do, of course, with the way we think, the way our mental processes move along. It connects the dots. It's like when you're plotting a trip on a map. It connects the dots along the route. So all these things, all these adjustments that weren't important now become important. And it's not just now, but back to 2009. So take a look back over the retrograde period. It may simply be the retrograde period now, you know, during this time when we've got these trines the third trine activated. It may be that this is the time when something clicks into place, so to speak. Or it may be, if you look back, something that was going on in your ideation process in 2009, 2010. What was going on then? So if you think of a safe, you know, someone who's trying to crack a safe, and you're listening for that click, when the tumblers will click into place and that safe will swing open and all that abundance of that situation will be activated. It's kind of what's happening now. So here's the thing. If you have hung in there, if there's something that you have tried again and again and again, and it just hasn't seemed to open for you, might be alone, might be something that you want to put forth in a relationship or in business, connections, a project, whatever it might be. If you gave up, maybe it'll come back in. But if you have continued at different times to put that forth and wanted that open road, that road to open up for you, that combination to click into place, that's what's happening. So it's wonderful, big stuff. I've had absolute things opening up in my life, and I've realized that it's taken me back to a time when I was my company was going, and then my husband became ill, and so I backed out of that. But it opened my heart. His illness and that process opened my heart in a way that it had not been open to that degree before. And then I go back to what I began the last time Saturn moved through Aquarius, which was 1992. And I began to teach celestial beauty. I began to formulate that. So I'm bringing back in a new form things that I have continued to try to find the right combination. So look for those opportunities. Look for that open road. You know, there's that phrase, never, never, ever give up. And also the thing to remember is, even though Mercury is mercurial, seems to move quickly, and it is a it's It's very mutable. I don't know, when I was a kid, I remember taking a drop of mercury, having it on my hand, and having it roll around. Have you ever had that experience? Put it in the chat if you ever played with mercury and you know what I'm talking about. Where the mercury rolls around in a drop and it can go through your fingers and it just doesn't stay still. You can't hang on to it. So that's kind of the way that mercury seems to operate. But the thing about change is, change can happen over a decade, decades, millennium. So never, ever, ever give up, because this beautiful door, this click of something finally clicking into place, is opening up for you in a way that won't quite happen this way for another 240 years. Not that you won't be presented with opportunities. We've got Jupiter in Aries with Mars, etc. But Jupiter and Mars are giving you the self-confidence to take the risk as that clicks into place. I'm excited about this, as you can tell. So I hope you are too. And that'll start to move into place, and it'll continue June, July. Pluto's kind of inexorable. It moves slowly. It takes over 240 years to go around one time. So as we see these things around us, as Pluto seems to pull the energy from old systems, collapsing them so we can reclaim the energy, be in touch with your plan, your vision, your dream, your ideas. What are you pioneering? That's the question to ask yourself. And it might, sometimes when you set on a journey, it's like when the people crossed the country in covered wagons. It didn't just take a day. It took a long time. But they didn't give up, right? And they finally ended up, claiming this half of the country as part of the United States. So it can be big. It can be big for you and powerful. And the lunar eclipse is still in operation, telling us to let go, to release the things in where our energy is invested unwisely, where it doesn't support the alignment of that dream we have that we're bringing down to earth. So as we move on through the week, on Thursday, there may be a dance. I mean, still in Libra, there may be a dance between the desire for connection and the need to feel separate. So, that's the thing with Libra. It does require us to do, kind of like a seesaw. And our challenge is to be at the fulcrum of the seesaw, be at the center, the middle way. And on Friday, the moon will move into Scorpio at 1:41 p.m. So that kind of sets us up for an emotionally intense weekend, right? Yeah. And it also will ultimately, as it moves through Scorpio, through the weekend, it will kick off the lunar eclipse again. So you may find there's an opposition with Eris, the goddess of chaos and discord, earlier in the day. So there may be a little trouble in paradise, and you might find that you want to blow off steam, or somebody else wants to blow off steam, perhaps. But as the day goes on, there can be sincere and honest conversation. And that's part of what Scorpio can do too. If it has a commitment, if it's committed to being honest, no matter how difficult it is, it can really dig deep and come up maybe with some secrets that we didn't feel so comfortable revealing before. So at 10:44 p.m. on Friday night, Pacific Daylight Time, we go into the gibbous phase. Yeah, we're preparing for a full moon. And the gibbous phase is the phase where we polish our progress. We look at our intentions, the progress we've made, and where we might have our energy invested inefficiently, not aligned, not really supporting getting our intentions in motion, building some solidity underneath those intentions. And one of the things, that we're looking at as we've got Mercury moving forward is we're looking at who we might need to reconnect with, what we might need to revive with that trine to Pluto. What do we need to revive from the depths? What do we need to put some power behind? And in the gibbous phase, moonrise is at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and moonset is at 3 a.m. And that's where we see the full moon building from right to left again. We see that light building. Saturday's going to bring some possibly major changes as Venus, the planet of receptivity, how we attract what we need, what brings us pleasure, is united with Uranus in Taurus and the North Node, our collective path forward. So you may see some new developments over the weekend. And then again, the developments that begin will also be re-energized the last week of July and the first week of August. And you may feel a strong need for more freedom and a freedom to express yourself wherever 16 degrees of Taurus occurs in your chart. And the Scorpio moon in the evening on Saturday squares that energy. So just avoid power struggles. That's one of the things that can engender. Or, if there's a really big emphasis on emotional intensity, be willing to look inward at where that comes from. In the wake of this lunar eclipse, we have the opportunity to dive deep, to drill down, and allow those things that have sabotaged our progress and our ability to have intimacy in our relationships and success in our lives. We have the opportunity to target them and release that energy, move it on out. You can do cord cutting. I've mentioned this before. Really breathing, moving in, seeing where those cords are in your body, and allowing yourself to call in. You can call in Archangel Michael with his wonderful flaming sword and cut those cords and see that energy just released out back into its native nothingness, and feel that new, fresh energy filling you. That's one of the things that Jupiter and Mars uniting in Aries tells us too, that this is fresh energy for growth. So what do you want to grow? What's expanding in your life? If you have a comment about that in the chat, let me know. Also, if you are listening to this on a replay, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the material, how it's working in your life, how you're working it. Yeah. So I wanted to mention a little bit about Uranus being on the move. So Uranus is, it hovers because it takes 7 years to go through a sign. It takes 84 years to go around once. And Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So it's the great awakener. And it also rules earthquakes, and it's the arbiter of sudden change and shocks and upset apple carts. So it's awakening humanity to our connection or disconnection with the earth as it's in Taurus. And it also has to do with currency. So if you couple Uranus conjunct the North Node, where we're going, and Venus in Taurus, which Venus is in Taurus now, obviously, and it rules Taurus, couple that with this beautiful trine that says something's going to click into place and you can go for it. So, for instance, if there's a loan that you've applied for that just hasn't seemed to come through or something like that, try again. This is a good time to try again. And of course, patience and persistence, the patience of Taurus, and the power and persistence of Capricorn, where Pluto is, can be supportive, used wisely, used correctly, harnessed to a plan, a vision, a dream. So it's really, really good to spend some time as you move into the weekend getting some clarity, if you don't have it already, to allow the now forward movement of Mercury to give you some clarity. So, if there's something, this can be restless energy too, by the way. Uranus rules electricity, and lightning. So, it can be that kind of jiggity energy. So it may be that things do get really shaken up, but anything that's stale or stagnant or deadening in your life may be lifted up, shown to you, awaken, so you awaken to it so that you can release the energy from it. And as we move into Saturday, I mentioned the new developments and the changes, and feeling a strong need for more freedom of expression in ourselves, wherever 16 degrees of Taurus is in your chart. And I believe that the link is running in the chat, or it's in the chat if you want to make an appointment for a reading. These energies aren't quitting, right? And a lot of them are once in a lifetime energies that we're having this year as we're at this midpoint between 2012 and 2030. So it's a great time for a reading so that you can, really tap into these energies and harness them personally for your greatest good and for your highest good and greatest joy. So on Sunday, the moon moves into restless, adventurous, truth-seeking Sagittarius at 12:33 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And we build to a super full moon, not just any old full moon, but a super full moon coming up at 4:51 a.m. on Tuesday, the 14th. And of course, on Monday, I will be guiding you to what's happening with that full moon, and we'll do some full moon work and make a wish. And really, you'll be ready to tap into that full moon energy in a big way. So I'm wondering if anybody out there has any questions, please put them in the chat. If whatever it might be. And just be aware that we are in this pivotal time. I continue to see articles and videos on the huge changes that are occurring with these coronal mass ejections, with our movement through the photon belt. We have photonic energies in our cells. We have the outer dwarf planets in the Kuiper belt, Haumea, Varda, other ones that are extremely creative energy with long orbits moving to aspect all of these things that I've mentioned. And so that tells you that new forms of creativity are there for you, new forms of self-expression. So that's what I have for you today. And I want to let you know that I'll be doing a master class, tuning you into how you can harness the energies of the universe for your own personal use, the secret to the right timing for everything, and how to literally use the lunar rhythms for maximum vitality, great health, success in your business, happy relationships, and all kinds of other things, because it is the key to the right timing for everything. So I believe we're going to be scheduling that for the 25th, but we're going to solidify that date. So be watching for that. It'll come through in your email if you're on the Spirituality Gone Wild list, or it will be on my Facebook page. My Facebook page, where you can connect with me, is Moon Powered Astrology. That's also my Instagram, Moon Powered Astrology. There's a D on the end of power, Powered Astrology. And also my YouTube channel, which is new, Claudia Thompson, Moon Powered Astrologer. That's where my replays live, as well as on my Facebook page. So please go and subscribe, comment. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is wonderful, Ariana. The thing is, with Uranus in your house of relationships, things can happen suddenly, kind of out of the blue. And I would say first order business, really awakening to what you want your relationships to feel like and look like. Uranus, again, is higher mind. So oftentimes, we want someone who's more aware. Now that Mercury's moving in direct motion, Ariana, this may help. And with Venus in its home sign of Taurus, that also may help. And I don't know if Venus is currently in your 7th house or not, but watch when it goes over that 6th house cusp into the 7th house. And we're going to have this conjunction with Uranus and the North Node, which is destiny, the future. Keep your beautiful eyes open, because that just may spark something. And then do the heart drop. Do that as often as you can. When I'm speaking to people, I'm just dropping into my heart, opening my heart, so that I can really take them in and hear them and listen to them. But living from the heart, listening with the heart. That's one of the things that Uranus is doing. It is sparking the electromagnetic capabilities of the heart. And the heart has, I believe it's 10,000 times the amount of neurons that the brain does. So, yeah, and you can text me too, because I'm now offering what I call snapshot sessions. And I do full readings, but then I'm also doing snapshot sessions, which are 20 to 25 minutes. And they deal with the urgency of now. They deal with one burning question and the timing and the insight and clarity you need. So that's something that you might want to go into more deeply, Ariana, when I have your chart in front of me. Thank you for your question. Thank you for giving that example. With Venus in Taurus, relationships, long-term relationships, thing we have to watch with Taurus is where we are stubborn, where we are intractable. And it's a fixed sign. So being open to the new. Uranus is one of the freedom junkies of the zodiac, and it's creating a new earth. So that's the potential in our own lives to look at how we can do things differently and do them in a new, fresh way. So, yeah, go on my YouTube channel and subscribe. I think I have a handful, but I would love it if you would subscribe and follow me, like me, comment. Let me know what you would like to know more about. And I love hearing from you. And as always, now and forever, I love you to the moon. Have a great week. I love you to the moon, way beyond. Remember to breathe.